Kid Podcast. The Earth is absolutely massive, and over the last few years, we've covered some topics like volcanoes, waterfalls, mountains, and oceans to learn more about the beautiful planet we live on. This week, we are going to learn about an amazing habitat that can be found here on Earth that only accounts for 2% of the total land area on Earth, but is super important for the survival of the entire planet. Let's learn all about it.
Quadruple mailbag!
Quadruple mailbag! Hi, Jacob and Olivia. My name is Leo, and I'm 6 years old. I live in Boise, Idaho. I am curious about keratin and the Amazon rainforest. I listen to your podcast whenever we are in the car. I have a little brother named Max who also loves the podcast. I love your podcast too. Bye! We recently found your podcast before a long road trip, and the whole family really enjoyed it. We ask our mom to turn it on every single car ride now. Benjamin, age 9, is wondering if you could get curious about the Amazon rainforest and Amazon River. Jude, age 6, is curious about parasites and black holes. Thanks for your awesome podcast. Keep up the good work. From Benjamin and Jude of Chesapeake, Virginia. Hello, my name is Lilienne and I live in Chicago, Illinois. I am 7 years old and going into 2nd grade. I love listening to your podcast on the weekends with my mom and dad. I am curious about pancakes, my favorite breakfast food, rainforests, which one is the largest, and video games. Nintendo Switch is my favorite device. Thank you. My name is Juniper. Can you please get curious about rainforests? Thank you. I love you guys so much and I love your podcast. I listen to it whenever I am on long drives. Your podcast is so educational. I learned so much from you guys. You are the best people I have ever listened to. Thank you. From Juniper, age 6, of Huntington Beach, California.
Dad, those messages are amazing. I find it super interesting that none of the largest rainforests in the world are in the United States. Yet all of the requests we got to get curious about rainforests came from listeners in the United States. I can't wait to learn all about rainforests for Leo, Max, Benjamin, Jude, Lilian, and Juniper.
It's going to be so much fun. Also, maybe it's not so surprising that our listeners from the United States want to learn more about rainforests. Perhaps listeners from other countries know more about rainforests because they are more likely to live closer to one. Well, wherever you are, or whether or not you've been lucky enough to visit a rainforest before, let's start learning all about rainforests, beginning with the question of the week.
The largest spider in the world can be found in the rainforest of South America. What is the name of the largest spider and how big can it get?
Yikes! I'm not sure I even want to learn the answer to the question of the week. Well, while you're thinking of the answer, let's learn what rainforests are and why they are so important.
I think it might be a good idea to start with the name rainforest. The reason they are called rainforests is because they get lots and lots and lots of rain. They can get anywhere from about 80 to 400 inches of rain every year. That's up to 1,000 centimeters. That's just a ridiculous amount of rain.
It might be hard to understand just how much rain that is. Rome, Italy, gets about 80 centimeters of rain yearly. Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, gets an average of 107 centimeters of rain per year. Sydney, Australia, averages 115 centimeters. And Miami, Florida, gets 171 centimeters a year. And that's the rainiest major city in the United States. While rainforests get about 5 times more rain than Miami, Florida. So it's a whole lot of rain.
Rainforests can be divided into 4 layers, and here they are from top to bottom. At the top, there is the emergent layer. That's where you can find some of the tops of the tallest trees, as well as birds, bats, and some insects, including butterflies. You won't find any larger animals in the emergent layer. Also, when I say tallest trees, I mean seriously tall trees. The trees that reach high into the emergent layer can be as tall as 200 feet or 60 meters tall. It's almost as if the tall trees in the rainforest need to compete with each other for sunlight.
Beneath the emergent layer, you can find the canopy layer. The canopy layer is thick with vegetation, including tons of branches and leaves that cover the bottom two layers like a canopy. The canopy is so thick that it blocks rainfall and sunlight from above, making everything below dark and humid. Fruit trees can be found in the canopy layer, including fig trees, which are common in many tropical rainforests. More animals can be found in the canopy layer than any other rainforest layer, and those animals include toucans, monkeys, and sloths. The canopy layer is really loud because of the very vocal birds that live there. Insects like bees and beetles can be found in this layer, as well as reptiles that enjoy feasting on the insects.
If you go down one layer, you end up in the understory layer. This layer has lots of bushes and shrubs that make fruits and seeds that are often edible. Different animals enjoy the dark environment of the understory that provides lots of camouflage. The green mamba, a very dangerous snake, likes to slither along the branches of trees in this layer in the Congo rainforest, the largest rainforest in Africa. Tree frogs also like this layer because the humidity helps to keep their skin nice and moist.
Finally, there is the forest floor layer, which, as the name suggests, can be found on the floor of a rainforest. Lots of large animals, including leopards, call the forest floor home. Decomposers, which are animals that love to feast on dead organic material, live on the forest floor, and these animals include scorpions, termites, and worms. Because the forest floor gets so little sunlight, it is nearly impossible for plants to grow there. Some rainforests have rivers that run through them. A great example is the Amazon rainforest that has what else? The Amazon River running through it. In the Amazon River, you can find a dolphin called the pink river dolphin, which is a rare freshwater dolphin. The Congo River, which winds through the Congo rainforest, is home to the Nile crocodile, which you may remember from our episode on alligators and crocodiles, is the animal that has the strongest bite of any animal on Earth.
Even though rainforests get lots of rain, it can take a really long time for the rain to drop to the forest floor, if it even makes it there at all. It can take 10 whole minutes for a raindrop to fall from the canopy layer to the forest floor. That's because the canopy, which is absolutely packed with trees, acts like an umbrella, shielding the forest floor from rain.
The type of rainforest we have been describing is a tropical rainforest, which is what most people probably think of when they think of rainforests. There are other types of rainforests too.
Like temperate rainforests, which can be found in cooler areas like the northwestern United States or southern Australia.
There are also monsoon rainforests, which have wet seasons and dry seasons. The trees in a monsoon rainforest shed their leaves every year. Monsoon rainforests can be found in Southeast Asia. There are also other rainforests called montane rainforests, which can be found on the slopes of mountains. These rainforests also go by the name cloud forests.
Rainforests are beautiful and fascinating places, but there are some animals that live in rainforests that shouldn't be messed with. There are more obvious dangerous animals like jaguars and anacondas, but there are also less obvious ones like poison dart frogs, Amazonian giant centipedes, and bullet ants.
Despite being home to some of the most dangerous animals out there, there are people that call rainforests home. Many tribes live in rainforests, and they can usually be divided into two groups.
One group is the hunters and gatherers. They hunt animals for food and live off of the food that rainforest provides, like berries.
The other group, which is actually more common, is the slash and burn farmers. They cut down the trees and plants in a part of the rainforest and burn them. Then they raise crops in that area. Once they aren't able to grow crops in the area, they move on to another and do the same thing. The area they leave behind eventually starts to grow trees until it blends in with the area of the rainforest surrounding it.
But these days, the area that was burned doesn't even have time to grow back. Unfortunately, more and more people are trying to move into the rainforests. As a result, the rainforests are being cut down too quickly. If it continues this way, the rainforest will be destroyed, and farmers won't be able to find new places to move to. If that happens, they will run out of food and starve.
That's bad news for the farmers that live in the rainforests, but destroying the rainforest is bad for everyone. When the trees get cut down, it results in less rain because the water cycle is disrupted. That can lead to rivers drying up, and those rivers supply water to millions of people.
Rainforests are also responsible for things that humans need. About 1 in every 4 medicines were discovered in the rainforest.
One example is a medicine called quinine, which was found in the bark of a cinchona tree. Quinine helps cure a dangerous disease called malaria, and it wouldn't exist without rainforests.
There are so many important things that come from the rainforests, like bananas, corn, chocolate, pineapple, and coffee. Lots of the rubber and wood used by humans also came from rainforests.
And of course, on top of everything else, destroying the rainforest is bad news for the animals and plants that live there. To find out more about how we can protect our rainforests, please visit the Rainforest Foundation. We've provided a link to their website in the episode notes.
All right, folks, if the facts we already shared with you didn't make you go, wow, that's amazing, then buckle up, because my brother Noah is about to share 5 unbelievable facts about rainforests you need to know. Here's Noah.
Fact number 1, and it's a biggie. The Amazon rainforest, which is the largest rainforest in the world, is more than half of the size of the United States. Parts of the Amazon are 9 different South American countries. It measures over 2 million square miles, or 6 million square kilometers. It is 3 times bigger than the second biggest rainforest, the Congo. If the Amazon rainforest were a country, it would be the 9th biggest country in the world. Fact number 2, and this fact is pretty dark. Literally, only 2% of sunlight reaches the forest floor in a rainforest. The ground of a rainforest is pretty dark, even during the daytime. Without enough sunlight, dead plants and leaves can be found on the forest floor. Fact number 3, and this fact is super loud. Lots of monkeys live in rainforests, including an interesting monkey called the black howler monkey. When a black howler screams or howls, the sound can be heard from 3 miles or 5 kilometers away. That's super loud. Sometimes I scream at my parents from the basement and they don't hear me in the kitchen. Maybe they're just ignoring me. Next up is fact number 4, and it's a hot one. There's a rainforest in the Caribbean island of Dominica. There's a lake in the rainforest that gets as hot as 190 degrees Fahrenheit, or 88 degrees Celsius. For that reason, it is often called the boiling lake. You wouldn't want to go swimming there, that's for sure. Finally, we have fact number 5, and this one will demonstrate just how amazing rainforests are. Even though rainforests cover 2% of Earth's land, half of the world's plant and animal species live in rainforests. In the Amazon alone, you can find 40,000 different types of plants, 1,300 birds, 3,000 types of fish, and at least 400 types of mammals, and 2.5 million different kinds of insects.
Awesome job, Noah. And that last unbelievable fact shows just how amazing rainforests are and why it's so important that they aren't destroyed. All right, it's time to answer the question of the week. What is the name of the largest spider in the world that can be found in rainforests in South America? And how big can the spider get?
You aren't going to believe this, but the spider is called the Goliath bird eater. Now you're probably wondering if the Goliath bird eater actually eats birds. Well, it does sometimes. It was given the name Goliath bird eater because it is so massive, and also because it was eating a hummingbird when it was discovered. Even though it can eat birds, it prefers to eat large insects, amphibians, and worms. The Goliath bird eater can grow to about 175 grams or 6 ounces. That doesn't sound like much, but it's super heavy for a spider. Also, it can grow as long as 30 centimeters long, which is about a foot long. That's about 50% longer than a tarantula. Holy smokes, that's big.
Well, we don't mean to rain on your parade, but that's a wrap for this week's episode.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's podcast, number 264, on Rainforests.
Great job, Olivia, and great job, Leo, Max, Jude, Benjamin, Lilienne, and Juniper, for an episode topic suggestion that is so amazing, we needed to get curious about it, rain or shine. Before we say goodbye, we've got an amazing listener to thank.
We want to thank Lauren from West Long Branch, New Jersey, for leaving us a 5-star review.
It says, best podcast ever. I totally love it.
We are so appreciative whenever someone takes a minute or two to leave us a review. If you want to show us some love, it would mean so much to us if you leave us a 5-star review for the podcast.
We read all the reviews that come in, and best of all, reviews really help new people find the podcast. So help us grow the Curious Kid Podcast family by leaving a review.
Also, please let us know what you're curious about by filling out an episode topic suggestion form. You can find the link in the episode notes.
Join us next week when we will get curious about vacuum cleaners for listeners in Australia, Canada, Ohio, and Arizona. As always, thank you so much for listening and getting curious with us.